everybody, welcome back to Engaging the Phenomenon. This will be our second UFO Twitter video, but our first Ask UFO Twitter video, which is going to be part of an ongoing series called Ask UFO Twitter, where participants from UFO Twitter will be asked a specific topic or question, and they'll all give their comments on it. So today, our first video of Ask UFO Twitter is general thoughts and impressions on To the Stars Academy. Just for my little spiel, To the Stars Academy came out a few years ago, and they made some pretty big statements. And although Tom DeLonge was behind it, and we found out pretty much from the get-go he had some heavy hitters with him, it's hard to imagine that they would have accomplished what they have where we are right now. They have really broken the veil to the mainstream media covering the UFO topic. It's being reported on a almost weekly basis, if not more, in a very serious way. And the U.S. Navy has come out and made statements saying that UAP are genuine, and it's been a pretty steady flow of information. Now, there are still some ways to go regarding disclosure, or even further than that, but we do have what it seems to be confirmation, and I really don't see it backtracking from this point on. I can only see it going forward. As far as we've come and as fast as we have come to this point now, and that is great in part due to the Stars Academy and everybody on their team who's helped really push this forward and pull strings and do what they can do on their end. Of course, skepticism is warranted when you're dealing with big statements. Government insiders, which there are several included in To the Stars Academy. So for certain, we should all keep a close eye, do our own research on what they say, and continue to question them in a sense where we help keep them on a track as a UFO community. So all in all, I think To the Stars Academy has done a great job, and no matter how you look at it, even if you think they're a psyop, or even if you would argue that they are going to come and spin a UFO threat narrative, it doesn't matter in a sense, because we would have come to this point no matter what. And the sooner we get there and get over any kind of questions or concerns in that nature, the better. Because no matter how you look at it, all these questions were going to come up anyway. So I don't want to make it like they're a necessary evil, but no matter how you look at it, this turning point and stepping stone for humanity was absolutely necessary. We had to come to this point, and now we have to go beyond it. And those are my thoughts on To the Stars Academy.
My name is Sean Cahill. I'm a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, security professional, investigator, as well as UAP witness and experiencer. These are my impressions on To the Stars Academy for UFO Twitter. Since the December 2017 article and airing of Season 1 of Unidentified, more people are taking UAP and UFO research seriously than ever before. Since then, almost every major news outlet, whether print or primetime, has featured TTSA and its strides in widening the spectrum of dialogue around UAP truth and our government's involvement in a 70-year investigation. They cracked the egg that no one else could. They got the military to admit this is real. They got the Army to partner with them, in the open, in the light of day, to examine the evidence. No one else had come even close to that. So let's sample the team and talk impressions. First is vision. Tom DeLonge, founder. No one else had the foresight, fortitude, and balls that this guy has. He gathered the team. He made this happen. There is no TTSA without Tom. Pedigree. With an impressive board of directors and advisors, Steve Justice is a shining example of the validity of TTSA's mission. Simply put, when an engineer of Steve's caliber says this is a serious subject, people listen. Integrity. Luis Elizondo. Army DIA. Counter Intel. Counter Terror. Director of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. With a relentless drive, cunning intellect, and absolute dedication to the American people, Lou Elizondo has done more to lift the conversation of UAP into the mainstream than anyone else. I'm proud to call him my friend. And that pretty much wraps it up.
Hey, what's up, UFO Twitter? Ryan Sprague here, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on To the Stars Academy. I hate them. I think they're terrible. Just kidding, look at the shirt. Definitely a fan of everything Tom DeLonge has done and will continue to do for the UFO topic. When the first New York Times story broke and we found out everything that was going on with the Navy and the Tic Tacs and the gimbals and the go-fasts, it blew my mind to know that there was a secret Pentagon UFO program going on, and none of us really knew anything about it. We thought it all ended with Project Blue Book, but lo and behold, Tom DeLonge was part of getting this out to the public. And I think it's awesome, the different avenues and facets that To the Stars is taking in terms of studying UFO materials, UFO videos. I think Unidentified was one of the best UFO shows to come out ever, to be completely honest. So yeah, for someone who has been in the UFO field for a pretty long time, I'm gonna be honest, things were stagnant. Things were boring. We were talking about the same damn cases from the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now we've got these new cases to talk about. I mean, the Tic Tac video, what, 3 years old now? At least us knowing about it. And we're still talking about it today. So, if anything, it gives us new things to talk about, a new discourse to have, and a lot of new flame wars to have on Twitter as well. That being said, I love UFO Twitter. I think this is an amazing avenue for not just UFO researchers, but for anyone to become a part of this, to give their own thoughts, to ask questions, and to just have a civil conversation. So thank you to everyone out there in UFO Twitter world. I'm honored to be a part of this and to give my thoughts. And I'm going to keep supporting Tom in everything he's doing. That does not mean that I give money to Tom DeLonge. I try to remain objective as a podcaster and a quote-unquote UFO journalist. So I want to try to keep my distance in terms of that. But just know that I'm going to continue to support everything they do. And I hope we will start to find answers somewhere in the skies. Take care, guys.
Hey, what's up, UFO Twitter? This is Mark here. You might know me as the 509th Conductor. I never use my real name or post any pictures, so I figured I'll do a video. Shout out to James for putting this together. It's a neat idea. So the question was what you thought of To the Stars Academy. Well, I'm a big supporter. I don't hide that. Haven't been called a fanboy in a while, though. But to me, they're obviously a legit organization. I've been a fan of Tom for quite a long time, you know, since I was a teenager, going to Blink shows, Angels and Airways shows. Part of me, you know, thinks maybe the difference sometimes is I trust Tom, which some people might think is nuts, but to me, you know, he's sincere in what he's doing. And I've thought that since the beginning. I've, you know, listened along to those early interviews as they happened. Seeing the Academy formed after all those interviews was awesome. So far, they've pretty much delivered on what they said they have. It's just a slow process, which I understand people are upset with that. They want things quicker. But, you know, it's not working on their schedule, as Tom has said since the start. So, I don't know. I'm patient. I'm looking forward to it. New season of Unidentified is going to be awesome. The Krata, I'm excited about that. I know lots of people like to speculate the tech's just going to be buried, but we don't know that, so it's possible that it won't. And, you know, might be something really cool from it. So I'm looking forward to that. So we're at a bit of a lull, but you know something good's coming. So I'm excited. Good to meet you all. Hope everyone's staying safe. I'm quarantined myself, working on some UFO animation stuff. Yeah, take it easy.
Hey James, Jason here from New York City. So what do I think of TTSA? I think it's a good thing that they're bringing some sort of disclosure to the public. I think they're going to spin a few narratives a certain way, and that might be just to get the media's attention, and I guess that's okay. But for the most part, we got to take the good with the bad and be optimistic about what the future holds. I mean, we're all sort of growing, and I think that this is basically a positive step, even though it may come with extra stuff attached to it. So for other people who really want to research for themselves and figure this out, and maybe even find out a few more secrets for themselves, I think CE5 is a wonderful way to do it. Probably the optimal way to do it. But in any case, whatever serves everyone, they take the steps accordingly. To the next few years, it should be interesting. Peace.
This is Mike DeMonte with punkrockandufos.com. My thoughts on To the Stars are simple. I'm somebody who's kind of been following this for a long time, and also I followed Tom DeLonge's career prior, and from someone who's met him and interacted with him, he's genuine, and I think him and the rest of To the Stars Academy, their hearts are in the right place. They just need the infrastructure and some more funding so we start seeing the results come in. These things take time, and people need to understand. So the Stars is a very, very small company. But at the end of the day, you know, we get the mainstream media respect, you know, handling these stories, and we get the show unidentified. I think it's definitely off to a solid start.
Hello, James. TTSA is working for disclosure, and we absolutely need disclosure. They are working with the government. I am not here to judge the government, US government, but we need disclosure, and the TTSA want to make it possible, scientific disclosure and international disclosure, and we really need it. You have to keep in mind the big picture and support people working in the good sense.
So where I sit with TTSA is that they're an alliance, a group, a coalition of people within the US government, the defense contractor and private contractor world, who have all had, you know, varying levels of exposure to sensitive and classified material, science and programs and responsibilities and oversight. And all of these people have now coalesced into a group that was essentially catalyzed by Tom DeLonge early on when he was first kind of making the rounds and trying to get in contact with certain people, which he did manage to do, and introduce them to the first book he wrote, which was the Secret Machines Volume 1 book. And so, you know, I see this as a coalition of people, some of them extremely high-ranking, that we don't even know about in regards to the background acknowledgement and green lighting of To the Stars Academy and the kind of access they've been allowed to be given. But in regards to the normal staff that you know about, they've got an extremely credible, high-ranking, professional staffer board, and I think that it is really appropriate to respect that and to understand it and to not just believe it's disinformation right off the bat when there isn't really any evidence for that. I do want to quickly address the threat narrative because it does come up a lot, and what I would say is that it is, although I am a CE5 consciousness contact, people's disclosure advocate, and I've had contact experiences, many of them, and that's what I believe more than anything else is more relevant to talk about. I do think it's important to understand that when you're trying to get congressional and like political, geopolitical, legal attention on a subject, just kind of going out there and saying, hey, ETs probably do exist and other things do exist, but it's probably all right, and it does seem to represent love and higher dimensions of reality, people are just not really going to vibe with that, especially within a very skeptical, materialistic setting. So they've gone through the threat narrative, in my opinion, under the pretext that it will eventually push things through, you know, congressional hearings. People will start to acknowledge it as something to pay attention to, and from there you can start to take a serious approach and eventually acknowledge the fact that, oh, it doesn't seem like there's anything we could even do about them if they were a threat, and they don't seem to be a threat because they haven't wiped us out yet. And so I think that that's kind of like an inevitability that we're going to get to that point of acknowledgement that this is something that, one, we can't even, you know, protect ourselves against if we wanted to, and two, we don't actually need to because it's not inherently a danger to us as a civilization. So I do think that, you know, obviously they are maybe pushing this threat narrative so that they can actually get political and legal attention, and this actually starts to get taken more seriously. But I don't believe that they're thoroughly invested in evil aliens, but I could be wrong, and so I'm just kind of on the fence on that aspect of it. In regards to things like the metamaterial research, I'm a little bit disappointed that things are being very secretive and there's FOIA exemptions in regards to the CRADA. There are reasons, obviously, for a CRADA being necessary in regards to FOIA exemptions, being necessary to the CRADA, because if you haven't got any innovations yet, you don't want to be releasing or be legally obliged to release premature information. So that does make sense, but I do hope that we get more transparency soon in the near future, because we do deserve it as people, as public, as investors, as people that are invested in the company, whether it be financially or just with our own time. And they are a public benefit corporation at the end of the day. So that is, you know, basically meant to be their modus operandi in regards to interfacing and being transparent with the public, which doesn't seem to be happening at the level it should be happening right now. So I do think I would advise them to be a lot more transparent with the public in the best way that they possibly can, to be a lot more updated on their social media platforms, to be more interactive with people on those platforms. And from there, they could start to garner a lot more public attention and public support, and maybe start to dismantle some of the conspiracies and some of the apprehensions and anxieties that are surrounding to the stars. And so I do think that it's important that we understand that they are trying to do their best, but at the same time, they need to be trying to do a bit better, in my opinion.
This is STS Majesty, aka Dwyn, of the Twitter account Summoning the Shift. I wanted to take a moment to give you my quick feelings on TTSA. Now, they've obviously taken the conversation to a brand new level, to the effect of the Navy having come out to state that UFOs are real, to the Navy having changed their guidelines in response to the work that TTSA has done, so that their pilots could now report UFO incursions more easily. Along with all the data that has been coming out since December of 2017. But none of this has been enough to push us into a post-disclosure world, because there's too much, in my opinion, cognitive dissonance, arrogance, ignorance, and apathy in the public sphere to have moved into a post-disclosure world without the release of smoking gun footage. Now, TTSA has not released any smoking gun footage. And do I think they're unable to attain it? No, I think that's probably unlikely, whether it comes from the Pentagon or their own field investigations. I think they most likely answer to individuals above them, and they have not been given the green light to release it. Why? I don't think it has to do with the idea that public panic would ensue if UFO smoking gun footage was seen routinely on nightly news. You see, I think it's that UFO smoking gun footage represents the impossible. And if this were to enter people's consciousness on a routine basis, there'd be such an expansion in human consciousness that we would evolve into a species very quickly, extremely quickly, that the governments of our world would not be able to control. So, in my opinion, it's out of a fear of our empowerment and the repercussions of it. But all in all, I praise TTSA for their efforts and their courage, and them bringing the conversation to the level it has reached. I want to wish all of you love and peace, and we'll be speaking soon.
Does money grow on trees? Do disclosure developments grow on trees? Neither of these things grow on trees. If it wasn't for To the Stars Academy, the former head of ATIP, Luis Elizondo, would not have had such an easy place to land after resigning from the DoD in protest that they were not handling UFO reality in a responsible manner. Without To the Stars Academy, we would not have had the December 16th, 2017 New York Times article, nor the March 12th Washington Post article, and nor the May 26th New York Times article, all covering UAP reality. We also wouldn't have had the 3 UFO gun camera videos released by the DoD. In my opinion, we wouldn't have UAP tracking network nor UAP expeditions had To the Stars Academy not come onto the field. And the importance of this cannot be overstated, in my opinion, because those are 2 legit outfits committed to doing what the scientific community has failed to do for so long, and that is to study the phenomena using advanced tools and putting money into that effort. According to James Fox, his upcoming movie titled The Phenomenon would not have been given theatrical release had it not been for the efforts, some of the efforts of To the Stars Academy, some of which I've already cited. Without To the Stars Academy having come on the scene, we wouldn't know who Dave Beatty is. And we would not have seen his amazing documentary titled The Nimitz Encounters, in which he invested 1,000 hours estimated of his free time. The aforementioned is just a small sampling of how To the Stars Academy has changed the playing field when it comes to UFOs. I think that anyone that really wants disclosure would recognize that the fruits of To the Stars Academy's efforts are working in our favor.
Hey, what's up there, UFO Twitter? Thank you so much for allowing me to take part in this. I'm very excited that James asked me to do so and share my thoughts on To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. Now, some of you may know me. I'm a little bit critical, and I want to start with actually the positive. For those who have known me more than 2 years, meaning you followed me longer than To the Stars has been out, because again, I have been a little bit critical, you'll know that I am an advocate for UFO disclosure, whatever that may mean. I am an advocate and believer that there is a cover-up of some kind, and that the government is playing a role in that cover-up. And they are actively trying to shield us from the truth. I've got thousands of examples of that, and I get stories all the time when it comes to UFOs, documents, FOIA, and how the government treats that. So at the core, with To the Stars Academy trying to end that secrecy, I fully support it. And I fully support and advocate myself for bringing this topic out to the forefront, which they have done an amazing job of getting the media to pay attention and to cover it and to look at it in a very serious light. Now to the more critical stance, where I feel that although the core of what they have wanted since day one, or at least they wanted when they first started, was ending the secrecy and lifting that veil of essentially a cover-up, essentially shielding the public. They wanted to lift that, yet it seems like that now they are kind of contributing to it. Recently, I did an article where I explored taking these metamaterials, these pieces of UFOs, what could potentially be the biggest discovery of mankind, and walking it back through the doors of the very entity, which I agree with them over, is essentially covering this up and giving it back to the United States Army. Is that the right decision? Now, I'm not here to say yes or no. My personal opinion is that's probably not the best choice. But in fairness, their response to me was the United States Army is supplying things that they potentially couldn't do in the private sector for financial reasons and technological reasons. So with that, only time will tell. Even though I do support that core, I have my criticisms along the way, and I know that I don't stand alone with those criticisms. I hope that To the Stars Academy does return to that effort to lift that shroud of secrecy and be a little bit more open, because it seems like they've now kind of locked down some of these stories, locked down people that have had the material or have the material, and they've loaned it over. They're essentially locking them from talking to you and I. So now we're just going to have to wait and essentially see what happens. And I'm willing to do so as long as it may take. But those criticisms may still continue to fly until we get some types of answers. So the bottom line, I support the core of what they're doing. I wish them all the best of luck. But in the end, I hope that secrecy does not prevail. Thank you so much for letting me take part. We'll see you next time.
So there you have it, everybody. Ask UFO Twitter. General thoughts and impressions on To the Stars Academy. Big thanks to everybody who joined in and participated on this Ask UFO Twitter session, and look forward to more. Special thanks to John Greenwald of the Black Bolt for joining us all on UFO Twitter and engaging with us. So look forward to more, guys. I'll see you soon. Take care.